Hello, I am Stella Green and I'm welcoming you to this chaplaincy service at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in King's Lynn, especially for All Souls. It's a chance to recognise and reflect on people that we have loved and lost, especially during the coronavirus pandemic. Many churches have a service on this day to which they invite the families of those people who have died over the last year, as well as anyone else who wishes to come and remember a loved one. But this year has been very different. For many people, whether the death of the loved one has occurred because of the coronavirus or not, they have not been able to go to a funeral, or at the very least, the funeral has felt very different. And so we offer this service, both live and online, as an act of remembrance. Please use it to recollect those people who, though now dead, have loved or influenced us. Our hope is that this service will aid the grieving process. The way the service will work is that we will listen to some readings, some prayers, and some music. And we will also light a candle. And if you are listening or watching in your own home, you can perhaps light a candle too, or light a light on your phone, or just watch as we light a candle for all of us. In addition, we have this river of fabric here, signifying the river of life, a strong biblical metaphor and a way of recognizing that despite the storms of grief we may find ourselves in, life does continue. So we do not forget those whom we love, but instead we begin a new normal, a new kind of life. Later in the service, we will have an act where we launch a leaf onto this river, symbolising a loved one. And again, if you are watching online, you may want to find a piece of paper to write down the name of a loved one and a special place to keep it, which will help you to remember them. But let's start with a reading today and some verses from the Bible that recognise that in these times of stress and hurry, there is still time to mourn, to weep, and to live again.
There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to uproot. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones, and a time to gather them. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing.
Moment, I'm going to light a candle as a symbol of hope. If you are following online, you may want to pause this recording while you find a light and light your own candle. Or turn on the light on your phone, or simply watch. Lighting a candle can help us to remember that no matter how dark a room, the smallest light can offer direction and comfort. It helps us to remember that hope is patience with a lamp in it. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness cannot put it out. So we invite you to look at the lit candle and remember those who have gone before us. And perhaps as you remember, focus on your breath and imagine that as you breathe in, you are breathing in light and peace. And as you breathe out, you are breathing out fear and despair. Breathe in light and hope, and breathe out fear and despair.
Keeping You Alive by Hussein and Manwar. 2020, a year we all had high hopes for, but what happened? None of us could have predicted. Our lives changed overnight, our movement restricted. We met loneliness in isolation. It's not the same when you try to be social, when you're distant. And I know there's moments that have passed, moments that should have been celebrated. I know every community has sacrificed many traditions that are sacred. I know your pain doesn't just go away just because you're hibernated. And I know there's no manual on how you're supposed to grieve when you're isolated. So if you lost someone you loved, you take the sound of their laugh and keep it in the depth of your heart, because we are keeping them alive. You take all the words they spoke and you wrap them in hope, because you are keeping them alive. You find all the dreams they wrote and you hold them close, because we are keeping them alive. Somewhere deep in my heart, I pray it's you I find, because I have been keeping them alive. We couldn't be more proud as a nation of all the key workers, all the NHS staff. We hold you all with courage and admiration. Thank you for your bravery and your patience. And now we light candles for the goodbyes we never got to say. And we hold you in our hearts every single day. And we hold you in our hearts every time we pray. Because it's the love that we have that will never fade away. It's the conversation in isolation that really saves the day. How we found ways to come together to carry each other's pain, because we are keeping you alive. And in the words of Captain Tom, tomorrow will be a good day.
I'd like to read you now a few verses from the Bible. This is from the book of Revelation, chapter 22. Then the angel showed me the river of the water of life, clear as crystal, flowing from the throne of God and of the Lamb, down the middle of the great street of the city. On each side of the river stood the tree of life, bearing 12 crops of fruit, yielding its fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations. And now we come to the time for our act of remembrance. And I'd like to offer this act of remembrance as a way of remembering and holding close those that we have loved and lost. This cloth represents the river of the water of life that we have just heard about. Each of these leaves represents a unique and individual life, a person that we have loved who is precious to us. Just as leaves will fall into a stream and flow away, so time separates us from those that we have lost. And yet, the love we have for that person is strong and durable, and I believe will bring us together again. So listen to this music and reflect. And if you have your own leaf, write a name on it and keep it somewhere special.
Well, we're going to pray now, and if you would like to join in, please do so. At various points within the prayer, I'm going to put some words up on the screen, and you'll see that some of the words will be in bold. So please join in with those words if you want to. Okay. But let's take a moment to remember those patients that we have cared for, those of our own families we may have lost, and any colleagues who for one reason or another are no longer with us. We remember with thanks those patients we have cared for, those who have touched our hearts and those we couldn't save. May they rest in the deep peace of the quiet earth. We remember with tears of gratitude and loss those friends and family who have shared our life in times past. We give thanks for times of happiness that we had together. But we also pray for the sorrows and the difficulties we face together, for all the experiences of sunshine and shadow that we shared. We remember our colleague, Chrissy Emerson, whom we sadly lost, and other colleagues who have also suffered with COVID-19. We thank you for those who have come through it, and we pray for their continued recovery. Sustain us now in the tasks that still lie before us as we continue to give of our best to those in our care. So for those we have loved and lost, in the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember them. We remember them. In the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them. We remember them. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember them. We remember them. And when we start our shifts and when we finish our shifts, we remember them. We remember them. When we recall their words and an act of their kindness, we remember them. We remember them. So long as we live, they too shall live, for they are part of us, and we remember them.
Thank you for spending this time with us today. I hope our service has helped you to reflect on the experiences of these last months and to hold and cherish the memories of those that we have cared for and lost. We offer a bereavement support group for those who have used the Queen Elizabeth Hospital and for the people of King's Lynn. If you would like to know more about it, then please contact the chaplaincy through our website. I'd like to finish now with the Gaelic blessing. Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Until we meet again, may you rest in the peace of all things. Thank you for being with us today.